I just wanted to go through and take a look at the other translations here, the writing of the claim and how that turns into writing the hypothesis statement. In number 6, the claim was fewer than 95% have a cell phone. And again, think about what the question would be. Do you have a cell phone? Do you not have a cell phone? Answer yes, no, categorical variable, going to be a proportion. The other big hint that it's a proportion here is that if they're making a claim about the mean, they have to say mean. They're making a claim about the standard deviation, they have to say standard deviation. So here, they didn't say mean, they didn't say standard deviation. If you think about the variable, it's categorical. All that's pointing to a proportion. Fewer than 95% is less than 95%. The opposite or negation of that is P is greater than or equal to 95%. So when it comes time to write the hypothesis statement, we're using P just like over here. We're using 0.95 for the 95%. In between them in the null is the equal sign because it's always equals. And then in the alternate, we use the strict inequality. In this case, the strict inequality was in the claim. So we were using the less than. And then when we do the R and the S, once again, it's the claim. The claim is being represented here by the alternate hypothesis. That's why we're noting that with the star there. In number 7, here they explicitly said the mean pulse rate of adult males is equal to 69 beats per minute. So that's mu equals 69. The opposite or negation of that is mu is not equal to 69. When we come over to write the hypothesis statement, the equal case goes in the null. The strict inequality goes in the alternate. Put the R and the S, and this time it's the null hypothesis that's representing the claim. So in this one, when it comes time to write the conclusion, we're going to talk about whether or not we can reject that claim. At the bottom here, they claim about the standard deviation of pulse rates of adult males being more than 11 beats per minute. So that is sigma greater than 11. The opposite of greater than is less than or equal. Come over to write the hypothesis statement, and we're going to have sigma in there because it's sigma in the claim. We're going to have 11 in there because it's 11 in the claim. And between them in the null is the equal case because it's always equal in the null hypothesis. And the alternate hypothesis gets the strict inequality, which is the greater than. And this time, it's the alternate that is representing the claim. There's one other thing that we're going to get out of the hypothesis statement, and this relates back to this second case here, and that's identifying the tail of the test. In the tail of the test, we look at the inequality in the alternate hypothesis. So if it's pointing to the right, it's a right tail or upper tail test. If it's pointing to the left, it's a left tail, or also known as a lower tail test. Each of those is only one tail, so collectively we refer to those as one tail tests. And if it's a not equal, that could either be less than or greater than two choices, two tail test. So back over to here, this is going to be a right tail test because it's a greater than, it's pointing to the right. That's pointing to the left, that's going to be a left tail test. The not equal there, that means that that's going to be a two-tail test. And in our bottom one here, it's once again pointing to the right. So that is a right tail test. And it's in this step 2. What step 2 is really about here is it's about identifying all the given information. So from the first step, from the hypothesis statement, we get the tail of the test. The next thing that we're interested in is the significance level. Alpha, back in chapter 7, alpha was the leftover. So if we had a 95% confidence level, the alpha was the remaining 5%. Now we're going to talk about things in terms of alpha. It's known as the significance level or level of significance. And then the last thing we're going to be looking at is what sample information do we have? We're going to be testing about proportion, mean, standard deviation. These are the different items we're going to need. With the mean and standard deviation, we'll get to have some cases where we're working with raw data, which is going to be even easier because statistics will handle that for us. But all of this stuff is what we would need to go ahead and continue on with the process. And when you're looking through this process here, think about this, this is in sequential order. That's how you should run through it. It's set up to just walk you through the entire process.